Welcome to John Martin Talks, where we battle ignorance and apathy daily. The growing ignorance of just how special this experiment we call the United States of America is, and the apathy that we can't or won't do anything and everything to save her. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the show, or first of all, welcome. But if you've been watching a while and wondering about my change in color, I went fishing. I don't need a nurse. I got my nurse when I went fishing. I'm a red man. I'm still Captain Whitebread, but I was out in the sun quite a bit, and I'm trying to look out for myself. But I only got 12 years to live according to AOC. So what difference at this point, as Hillary would say, does it make? But we had a great time. You can see a few of the pictures there. I usually do a report, and I will do a written report on this, and I post it to my John Martin Talks Facebook site. So if you're interested in that, check it out. It should be up by tomorrow. And a lot of people seem to like it. I know it keeps me sane and healthy. So anyway, find something you're passionate about and doing it, as long as it doesn't interfere with somebody else's rights. But don't get in a rush to do it, I suppose, or maybe you should, because that's the word of the day, by the way. It's rush, a move with urgent haste. That is our word for the day. And we had a story that rushed at us overnight. In case you are just tuning into it, you haven't heard it, you get your news from JMT, which is a very good thing to do. Breaking news overnight, Christian Nelson, who is our current Homeland, or was our current Homeland Security Secretary, has resigned. And, I don't know all the reasons why. I could speculate. I'm not going to get too deep into it. Was it done in a rush? I don't think so. I think people in the know have been seeing this coming for a while. I mean, as I say, we can talk about the specific details as they come out. But the biggest thing really is that President Trump has, quite frankly, had a lot of difficulty in filling in not only cabinet positions or keeping them in, but also it's a constant thing underneath, the underlying, the ones that most impact his administration. He's had there's no way to sugarcoat it. He's had a lot of problems with that. Now, some of it is potentially his fault. I actually think that the vast majority of it is just the fact that he's trying to drain the swamp. Now, I'm not saying every one of these people. I'm not saying that Ms. Nielsen is a swamp rat. That's not what I'm saying. But she is an establishment figure. There's no question about that. And I think if you look at President Trump, he's such an outsider to this situation that there's really not that many outsiders on the inside, if you follow what I'm saying. So I think part of the problem is that he was a bit naive, quite frankly, into what it would take to actually, not to be president, but the minutia of it, the filling in of these posts. I mean, because he's campaigned on shrinking the size of government, right? And when you fill in all these thousands and thousands of posts, not to mention the top ones like Ms. Nielsen has, that is a challenge. So we'll keep you posted on this story. I don't think it's much to do about nothing. I think part of it is that once the former Chief of Staff, General Kelly, resigned, this was his hand-picked person. She was an assistant to him. I think that basically when he left, it was only a matter of time before she would leave. I just want to say thank you for your service. I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but the public persona that she put forward was very solid indeed. So I wish her nothing but the best. And it could be she's just tired of dealing with the Homeland Security issues and fighting Congress, because she's been called everything but a child of God for basically saying there's a problem here and that kind of thing. So we wish her well. I'm not surprised she's gone. We'll keep you posted. Be interesting to see what decision the president ultimately makes. So
we have a comment from Citizens for Trump.
Okay.
These are very tough jobs under insanely difficult and bizarre circumstances.
Hey, there you go. One of our listeners, and I appreciate that. I couldn't have said it any better. So I don't think this story is that big of a deal, and I'm not saying the issues aren't, but of course the press will make this sound like that Trump's deranged and the 25th Amendment. This just shows you what we got to do, because that's what you could expect from the press, but not here at JMT. We're going to give you the hardwood, unvarnished truth. Scrub away all that old crap, get down to the hardwood like this desk here, baby. But the word of the day is rush. What's the rush? That's my title, my subtitle for this next article. What's the rush? Or you could say, what took you so long? And this is coming to you from CNN. Of course, they must not have investigated, because CNN doesn't investigate, do they? Except they got something that says CNN investigate. So I don't think they know what the hell they're doing there. But we're going to use their... I take sources, I watch stories. In case you've just tuned into us, welcome. By the way, if you haven't done this yet, and I appreciate people listening on the various networks like Citizens for Trump, Handcuffs for Hillary, shout out to all of y'all, thank you very much, are excluded. But if you haven't done so already, please go directly to my Facebook site, John Martin Talks, like it and share it with others, because we need that, because from time to time we get censored across the board. You can also check us out on our YouTube channel, John Martin Talks, or johnmartintalks.tv. But this is coming to you from CNN. As I say, what's the rush, or what took you so long? The actual title is Devin Nunes sending 8 criminal referrals to Attorney General William Barr. And so it begins, or at least I hope it is. I'm hopeful that the real deal is beginning. The dominoes, as we see in this picture, are coming into play. I'm hoping so, but we'll see. California Representative Devin Nunes, the top Republican on the House Intelligence Committee, said Sunday he was planning to send 8 criminal referrals to Attorney General William Barr as soon as this week. Now, he did not reveal who these 8 will be, and there could be more. He hasn't done that yet. Could there be handcuffs for Hillary? I hope so. I would not hold out too much hope. Don't get too excited yet until we see what's... Or if you really want to rush to judgment and get excited, what the heck, go ahead. You only got 12 years to live. So party, live a little bit, man. Appearing on Fox's Sunday Morning Futures, Nunes said 5 of the referrals are related to lying to Congress, misleading Congress, and leaking classified information. Well, that... I tell you what, you got to give Nunes credit. He narrowed it down quite a bit, didn't he? I mean, surely, think about this. I'm gonna have to read. He said referrals are related to lying to Congress. There's very few people that have lied to Congress. Misleading Congress. Who the heck would ever do that? And leaking classified information. That probably, no wonder he's only got 8 of them. There's probably only 8 people in all of D.C. that this fits to, right? If they said, okay, everybody who this fits, leave the building, the entire D.C. zone would be out except for maybe the will work for food science people. I mean, I'm taking Mr. Nunes serious, but he's got to narrow it down just a wee bit. The other referrals, Nunes said, are allegations of lying to the FISA court. That's the one where the PP dossier went, by the way. FISA court that approves foreign surveillance warrants and manipulating intelligence, and what he described as, and I laugh because some of these, I mean, maybe I just see things differently. Some of us are sicker than others, but he said he described as a global leak referral. He said it wasn't tied to any individual, but I'm a global leak. Is that what they're calling the PP dossier? Because it was a global leak. That's all. They're globally leaking. And then prostitutes are leaking all over the place, man. But, I mean, because he's referring to the FISA court, right? And we know, in case you don't get the joke, maybe I got some explaining to do. Well, the FISA court, the main document they used was the Steele dossier, otherwise known as the PP dossier. And so, you know, it's a global leak. But finally, maybe Hildebeest will be arrested, the handcuffs for Hillary. But what about Obama himself? I mean, if there's anything, I don't hear the media, of course, you couldn't expect the mainstream media to say this, that actually question Obama, but think about it. If, let's just say for the sake of conversation, that the Russians, everything, because one thing I think most people will realize is the Russians have tried to hack our elections. No one's really disputing that, right? Now, the dispute comes into the collusion delusion, as the president said, between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. I think that's been BS from the beginning, and they've known that. But there's no question that Russia has tried to influence our election, that type of thing. But who's watched, if it's true that that happened, even if it was true that collusion happened, which it's not, by the way, by the Mueller report, right? That we protect the Mueller report. But think about it. Under whose watch did it happen? It happened under Obama's watch. So why isn't he being investigated? Well, perhaps he will be. I wouldn't hold out too much hope, but we'll see. Keep hope alive. We couldn't really send these criminal referrals over without Attorney General in place. is what Mr. Nunes said. And that kind of makes sense. I understand that, because otherwise it'd be kind of a waste of time. And I don't know, the jury's still out a little bit on William Barr. I think he's handled the Mueller situation about as well as he could. Whether or not he's really a Trump loyalist, I don't know. I think that's a bit shaky still. So we'll see. As I said at the top of the show, talking about Homeland Security Nielsen resigning, it's really hard to find some outsiders from the inside. I mean, Washington, D.C. has no outsiders, by the way. Donald Trump is the outsider, so he's been struggling with this, and I don't know about the Attorney General. I'm optimistic at the moment, but we'll see. So he says, we prepared this week to notify Attorney General we're prepared to send those referrals over and a brief of him if he wishes to be briefed. That's a lot of briefing. We think they're pretty clear, but as of right now, this is Nunes talking, by the way. This may, I mean, he's sounding like Bill Clinton here. This is what the definition of is. This may not be all of them, but it cleans up quite a bit, and it needs some cleaning up. We have 8 referrals that are prepared to send over to Attorney General this week. Now, sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we just see, Donald Trump said it's been a witch hunt. Well, sometimes there are witches, Mr. President, and, maybe what Mr. Nunes is saying is now the real witch hunt begins. I think we got a picture that kind of shows that. I'm holding on, sir. That's all right. Maybe there are real. Sometimes the monster under the bed is real, and maybe the real witch hunt is about to begin. So should we get our hopes up? I don't know. Go ahead if you want to. Just party like it's 1999, as they say, right? Even though I guess that's already passed. Anyway, we're going to move on, but we'll see. We'll keep you posted about these referrals, and we'll see which way the wind actually blows here. Next story here comes to you from none other than the New York Times, and it's an opinion piece by one and only Jonathan Martin, no kin that I know of, and Alexandria Burns. And my subtitle is, Fools Have Rushed In. Why not Joe? Why not let Joe rush in? From the New York Times, Biden didn't rush into 2020. The race came to him anyway. So what they're basically assuming is that Biden is going to get in. He hasn't actually officially jumped in. He might have jumped on a few people, but he hasn't jumped in. And so they're just speculating that he's definitely going to run. For months, former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr., what does the R actually stand for? I didn't really know that. Hewed into a tortoise-like strategy for the 2020 presidential race. I mean, think about it. All the others have already jumped in, and there's more to be revealed. Think about this. People have jumped in and out since Biden even thought about it, I guess. Repeatedly delaying his final decision. He hoped to skirt. That's an interesting choice for him. He's about skirts, all right. Skirt a long stretch of campaigning as a front runner with a target on his back. I don't know about his back, but he's had some targets on it. But think about it, man. People are rushing to judgment, I think, on Biden a little bit, aren't they? I mean, that's the story we're hearing now. Don't rush to judgment on Biden and everything else. But I got to thinking about it. He reminded me of something. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. Because I think this dude was basically promised a nomination, right? I mean, if you serve me for 8 years, Joe, to Obama, I'm sure he said, I'll back you when the time comes. So, there's a song out there by another Joe, and I think we're going to play just a smidgen of it and see if you agree with me.
You made me a promise and you're going to stick to it. You shouldn't have promised if you wasn't going to do it. Me and land in another direction. I'll teach you to play with my affection.
I gotcha. Show me what you promised me, now give it here. That's Joe Tex, man. And I tell you, that guy's a legend. Rest in peace, Joe. He is an amazing entertainer. I don't know if you've ever... Go watch the video. It's a little creepy, too. But anyway, Joe Tex, I got you. So that's what it is. I mean, he's promised. He said, show me what you got. Now give it here. Don't hold back. Just give it. I tell you one something, and I thought about doing it, but I didn't want to overtax the guys in the back. But here's what somebody needs to do. They need to take President Trump's video of Biden. You know, have you seen that? The Biden on Biden video? And you got to give the president, we're going to talk more about it in a minute, but I had this epiphany right now that what they need to do is overlay that video with the Joe Tex song. And you got a winner, man. Maybe we'll do that and put it on our website, man, because I really think that would be the deal. Anyway, back to the article, man. Billy Bob tells, if you hadn't met my psychic sidekick here, this is Billy Bob Bass. He doesn't talk much, but he psychically connects to me because, as they say, some of us are sicker than others. I'm the old salty dog, and I talk to the fishes, man. But he keeps me on tune. He's got a Twitter handle, by the way. It's at Billy Bob Bass 1, and mine is at John Martin Talks. And we need to get the Twitter thing going a little bit. But we are some Twitter twats. When we get on there, we Twitter twat with the best of them. But back to the article. That approach carries risk. Mr. Biden, kind of being hesitant to get in, according to these writers at the New York Times. Mr. Biden missed the chance to recruit top-level aides, including former Obama advisors, women, and people of color, because he had not formalized his campaign. But that's not really fair. I mean, I take umbrage, if I understand the word correctly. Maybe we use that sometime, the word of the umbrage. It just makes me sound very sophisticated. Umbrage. I take umbrage. But that's really not fair to say that Biden hasn't been reaching out. I mean, Biden's been reaching out a lot. That's what actually got him in trouble. He's been reaching out here. Yeah, I've been reaching out over here. He's even making jokes about it. Did you see where he goes, I got promised, I got permission to hug this little girl here recently, and like the president of the IBW. I mean, woo. But let me just tell you, Biden's problem is not a lack of reaching out. I can assure you that, man. I think that's how we got here. He left, talking about Biden, he left urgent questions about his political vulnerabilities lingering, and he has not deployed researchers to review his vast record because he's not hired any. So they're lamenting the fact that he hasn't done all this research opposition on himself. And I would just ask you, going back to last week's show, when we check out, I think, Thursday's show where we talked about this, how much research do you really need? You remember this Lucy Flores that kind of started this whole trouble for Biden, the most recent trouble? She said, in response to his response, all you got to do is Google creepy Biden. And we did that live on the air last week. Try it again yourself. And you got all the research you need. I can save you a lot of money right now, Joe. And, Google it. Google your own name. But Google is of the devil, I'm just saying. But it is sure put some devilment up there. So they think Biden needs to do more in-depth research on himself. Wow. I mean, his life really is an open book. I mean, it's an X-rated one, but it's open. Mr. Biden has faced accusations from multiple women who came forward to complain that his penchant for close physical contact, he's just loving, man, made them feel uneasy. Well, yeah, as officially now, there's 7, in case you hadn't heard this, there's actually 7 women, not counting, I mean, there could be 700 of them, but there's 7 women who've come out and said that they accused Creeper Uncle Joe of violating their space. And so, my thing is, Joe, man, first of all, they think that this issue is going to derail his presidency or attempt to be president. I don't know. I mean, he's already got a lot going against him, right? He is, after all, at the end of the day, and I don't think we need a Elizabeth Warren Liawapa DNA test to do it. He's one of the whitest dudes out there. I mean, he's getting whiter by the day, man. You can't even hardly tell he's got a shirt on. He's so white, right? Maybe you need to come fishing with me, sir. But so he's an old white bread dude, so that disqualifies him. And think about this. I guess he's not reaching out enough, because in all the pictures I've seen, he's not an equal opportunity groper. He's just grabbing on to women from 8 to 80 kind of thing. Where are the men? Where are the men in this? But wait a minute. Billy Bob tells me we actually have a picture of Joe and a man you may or may not recognize. I don't know, that's probably Photoshop. But when I saw that picture, I couldn't help but get him to post it. But it reminds me of the old proctologist joke, right? What is the one thing you don't want to see when you go to proctologist? Both his hands on your shoulder. I don't know about illegal alien, but he getting alien. Looks like Bill is going, whoop! How much I got to pay for that? I mean, you got to feel for both Joe and Bill, man, because Bill, I'm telling you, nobody takes up for Bill Clinton anymore, and it kind of pisses me off because, speaking of pissed off, the reason he's upset, man, is think about it. Hillary came up, paid $10 million for this fake pee-pee dossier for these prostitutes peeing supposedly on the bed over there on Trump and where Obama said. And you got to think, Bill made 2 speeches over there in Russia, and there's no talk of him getting peed on at all. You can imagine that he went to Hillary and says, "Is this true? If true," use the Democrat, "if true, why didn't you spend $10 million on a lie? Why didn't you just throw $1 million towards the truth and get him to pee on me?" So I'm with you, Bill. I think you've been mistreated, brother. And it's turning me all red. Nurse, I need a nurse. I've just been in the sun, in case you just tuned in. I went fishing this weekend. But back to the story. Rival Democrats demanded that he, talking about Biden, account for his treatment of the women, and President Trump lobbied taunts that offered a preview of how he might attack Mr. Biden in 2020 general election. Wow. More Trump lies, right? Trump, man. We got more lies. We got to fact check, man. We got to fact check this, because Biden on Biden sex groping has not happened. That was, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just going to break this to you. I hate to do it because you know I love Donald Trump. But that video he put out of Biden on Biden sex or groping was false. It was false. It absolutely did not happen as far as I can tell. And maybe CNN, they're doing this story, maybe they should investigate. But then again, that's false too, because CNN doesn't investigate according to their president and CEO. Otherwise, but they got a website that says CNN investigate. There it is. That is false. It's false. I'm calling it right now. That's bullshit right now. That did not happen. That picture was photoshopped. I mean, shame on President Trump for putting that out. So tell me it was a joke. You mean like the emails that he told Russia, that he said maybe the Russians should get Hillary's emails? That was a lie too, right? That was a joke? Oh my God, man. You remember when the left actually had a sense of humor? I mean, they just don't have one anymore. Have you watched like late night television? When Alec Baldwin is the funniest guy on late night television, you're in a bad way, brother. Mr. Biden showed no evidence. Somebody, oh, by the way, somebody, and I really appreciate their listeners, somebody out there said that JMT was the conservative version of Saturday Night Live. So, hey, you got Sunday every morning live right here, John Martin Talks. You can play it at Saturday night if you're bored with that. But, hey, that's quite a compliment. I appreciate that. The way Saturday Night Live used to be. And I remember when it was actually good. But one thing about Donald Trump, laying all jokes aside, he's destroyed the left humor, man. They got none.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah. But it goes... Mr. Biden showed no evident regret, according to the New York Times opinion piece here, about his wait some more strategy, explaining coyly that he would give everybody else their day when I got a shot. So he's saying that, hey, he's going to wait for these people to get their shot. But I think the New York Times people may actually have this wrong. Because, you know, Biden often does gaffes, right? He does gaffes all the time. So maybe they're actually misreading. When he said, I want to give them a shot, maybe he's saying when he gets his shots. Because, you know, I'm always trying to help. I'm always trying to help old Joe. I'm going to help him right now. Here's the way. I think I got a picture here of the way Biden should campaign for this point going forward. It'll help him stay out of trouble. There it is right there. So Biden, maybe he hadn't had his shots. He's not trying to give him a shot. He hadn't had his shots. And this, Joe, take it from me, buddy, this will go a long way towards keep you from sniffing something or another. I can tell you, sniffing is his problem, and this is designed to keep you from scratching, sniffing, and everything else. So I'm always trying to help Uncle Joe, man. Google your own name. You don't need a research staff, and there you go. But Mr. Biden's eventual announcement now seems fated to fall in the shadow of his recent allegations and the progressive concerns he has so far declined to address. Far from remaining above the fray, Mr. Biden will enter the campaign as bruised as any of the 16 other candidates already in the race. But let me just tell you, they got, once again, a New York Times, surprise, surprise. They got it wrong because Biden ain't entering this race bruised. He's the one that's doing the bruising. He's the one that's like, squeezing them and pushing them. He's the one that's bruising them. But let me just think about this, because really, maybe that's Biden's problem. Maybe does he look like he's getting bruised? Or is he doing the bruising? He needs some bruising. Maybe he needs some bruising because it might give the old white dude some color. And that might actually help him. So maybe he needs to get slapped around a little bit, get some purple on him, and then he could win, or at least get some attention.
I can't agree more.
Yeah, he needs some coloring, man. He needs to get slapped around a little bit.
Come on to the JMT show. We'll help you out with that.
Like you see that, remember that picture a while back where it showed Biden with the biker chick, man? And the two bikers around? My thing on that, my little caption for that would be, you're about to get jacked by the real men in black, dude. The bikers always wear black, man. But we'll put it up in a minute. But indeed, amid the week's chaos, Mr. Biden, for the first time, according to the New York Times, took several swift steps toward becoming a candidate. His allies have been told to expect an announcement after Easter. There you go. Don't you think them dudes on the left and the right, number 1 and number 2, like one of my assistants here put up on Facebook? I looked at that and I'm going, there. I know, because I ride a bike. That's something else you don't know about me. I got a Harley, man. I look good on it too. But anyway, these guys, they're like, you're about to get jacked by the real men in black. I mean, they look like, they're looking like, if these dudes with the sunglasses on wasn't in front of this camera, buddy, we'd take you out back and straighten you out. But did you see, because they're talking about Biden is going to announce around the Easter holiday his announcement for president. And but that just, laying all jokes aside, and I posted this on my Facebook site. Go directly to John Martin Talks Facebook and you can see it if you hadn't seen it already. Did you see the video that our president, and yes, no flakes, Donald Trump is still your president, but Donald Trump put out about Passover greeting and Easter greeting? I mean, wow. It is powerful, it's strong, it's sincere. You can tell it comes from the heart. It's about time that we had a president that actually stood up for the fundamental things that made this country great, the founding principles of this country, and Donald Trump absolutely does that in this video. So check it out if you hadn't seen it. Back to the article. It says, and the former vice president, old Joe, was cited on Thursday in Scranton, Pennsylvania, apparently recording a video at his childhood home there. This is suspected as part of his announcement. And Mr. Biden has secured the services, and I don't know who this dude is, but apparently he's big, services of Mark Putnam, a Democratic ad maker known for crafting, check this out, this is what he's known for, crafting gripping cinematic commercials, according to people familiar with his decision. And I'm like, gripping? I think we've had enough gripping, man, already. Save your money, man. If you want a gripping commercial, just Google, as Miss Flores said, and she's absolutely right, creepy Biden, and I think you'll see all the gripping that you ever want. Let's get it on, baby. We got a lot of soul here at JMT. If you have, from Joe Tex, baby, all the way to Marvin Gaye. And let me tell you, as far as I can tell, he was anything but that. But, man, you want to listen to JMT, you're going to have some soul, brother. But anyway, I just think we've got enough bruising, groping, gripping video to last a lifetime. But hey, Joe, come on in, man. Maybe a creepy old white dude could do it. But I was about to end it there, but I got to give you there's a Florida connection to this story. There's a guy named John Morgan. Now, he was talking about running for governor, but he's got this saying out. He's a big-time lawyer. I mean, he's big, and he's got billboards in literally every corner of Florida and even into South Georgia. And his slogan is helping the people.com, or for the people, forthepeople.com. That's his slogan. And this guy's such a big donor. The Democratic Party actually in 2018 elections adopted that as their slogan, for the people. Now, I got to tell you, man, every time I see his face up there, I put it as effingthepeople.com, and it ain't for. I can tell you that. But he says, Morgan said that Biden's authenticity will still connect powerfully with voters. Mr. Biden's only sin is he loved people. There's old Morgan, people, forthepeople.com. It's fthepeoplesomething.com, I can tell you. But Mr. Morgan added, it was past time for Mr. Biden to make a decision about the race. He said, there are two ways to get in a cold pool. You can either toe by toe, or you can take a tequila shot and do a cannonball. And I'm telling you right now, there is a third way. And if you listen to my good buddy, the Professor Ward Scott, that precedes our show, because on every day at 8 o'clock, he always kind of mocks or chastises me a little bit about how I learned to swim in good old Hawthorne, Florida. And that was when my oldest brother, 15 years older than me, grabbed me by my ankles, held me over the diving board, and dropped in. It was sink or swim, baby. I swam. I'm still here. So there's a third way. But anyway, old John Morgan has chimed in on this. So we'll see, man. Now we're going to move on to another story. Let me check my time. Well, we're doing pretty good. A rush to the sea, I call this one. Israelis, Netanyahu consummates political survivor, faces voter test and legal peril. And this is from the LA Times. And Israel, this is about Benjamin Netanyahu. It's a very long story. I'm not going to get too in-depth about it. I don't know all of the issues in Israel, although I do know that their enemies want to wash them to the sea. But Netanyahu apparently is in some trouble over there. At least it looks like it's going to be closer than it should be. And there's various things about this. I mean, after all, if he gets elected, he's going to be the longest serving prime minister in the history of Israel, which is no big deal. I mean, it's no small deal. It's a big deal. The other is he's got some legal issues. He calls it a witch hunt. We heard that before. But there's a lot of similarities between what he's going through. I'm not saying the actual facts are similar, but the talk about it is very similar to some of the attacks that his good friend Donald J. Trump has gone through. In Israel politics, let's say this is from the LA Times. In Israel politics, Benjamin Netanyahu has long been known as the ultimate survivor. But now, a leader who has so often seemed invincible faces grave legal and electoral peril. Can Bibi really be in trouble? I mean, my perception of this guy is that who has done more to help Israel than Bibi? Well, maybe Donald Trump, but he can't run for it. But this guy seems to me, at least to the things that I think, and far be it from me, from some old Methodist dude from Hawthorne. I used to laugh and tease about a little bit that I captured all the Jewish vote in Hawthorne. And we had a dentist, and he was Jewish, and he voted for me every time. But I say that with all this, man. I've got some Jewish friends, Benjamin Netanyahu. I wish he was one of them, but I've got a tremendous amount of respect for the Jewish people, and I don't pretend to know what is all on their mind, but I was exposed to the actual culture of Judaism when I was living and working in New York City in the mid-'80s. I was dating a young lady that was Jewish, and I culture appropriated, man. I dove right in the middle of it. I was doing it. The only thing I didn't like was that fasting part, and I couldn't get into that like unleavened bread because it was a little, but everything else was cool, man. I mean, and I even had experience with some Hasidic Jew. I worked with a guy who was a Hasidic Jewish person, and I learned a good deal there as well. But all of this makes me feel like, how could Bibi be in trouble? I mean, one thing is that Israel is always on the verge, or at least threatened to be wiped off the planet, man. I mean, so I don't know, and he seems to be the big defender of it. But let's explore this story a little bit, and more may be revealed. With crucial parliamentary elections set for Tuesday, the smooth-talking American-educated prime minister faces a vote that is widely seen as a referendum on him making controversial moves. So I guess he's done something that's controversial, like stand up for Israel. Sounds like he's been putting Israel first, and we know how controversial putting your own country first can be. On Saturday, he pledged to annex Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank if re-elected, a dramatic policy shift apparently aimed at rallying his nationalist base. I don't know a lot about it, but I know one thing. Appeasement does not work. We know that. And there is a movement within the Jewish people in Israel that is very much like the progressive left here, that somehow they live in this fantasy world that if we were just kinder and gentler, if we just really could see it from the side of the Palestinians and the rest of these people, if we could really understand the Iranians, death to America, if we could really understand the Iranians, those people that say death to America, and what is their opinion of Israel? Is wash the pigs out to the sea. If we really could be understanding of that crowd, because it's hard for me to say Iran without death to America. I'm working on it. It's just really hard because that's what they do, by the way. They would say before they offer you sausage for breakfast, oh, they don't eat that anyway. But, you know, I don't know how you can appease these people. I really don't. On Thursday, 5 days before facing voters, the Israeli leader was on what amounted to a campaign stop in Moscow. Woo-hoo, here we go. We get into that. Where he thanked Putin personally for Russian troops' assistance with the repatriation of the remains of an Israeli soldier, Zachary Bromel, killed almost 37 years ago in the first of Israel's 2 wars with Lebanon. Such homecomings of remains are rare and tend to resonate very strongly with the Israeli public. So this guy, BB, he met with Vladimir Putin. He's a traitor! He's a traitor! There's no question about it. If you actually meet with a world leader who has nuclear weapons, you've got to be a traitor, right? If you actually meet with someone who could annihilate you if they wanted to, it has to be traitorous, right? I mean, there's a lot of Jewish people in Russia still, okay? So maybe it's actually wise for a leader. Imagine, I know this is shocking to snowflakes. It may be, I guess there's some Israeli snowflakes as well. I don't know how they fare in the desert, but that's another story. But for a world leader to actually meet with Vladimir Putin, I hate to tell you, it's not traitorous, okay? It's sensible. It only makes sense for Benjamin Netanyahu to actually meet with Vladimir Putin. I mean, after all, Putin has a lot, and Russia has a lot of influence in the Arab world, correct? Whether you like it or not, they do, and they're trying to gain more. And so, you know, for him to meet with him makes perfect sense. Not like that traitor that, you know, the worst traitor in the history of American presidential politics, because make no mistake, now, understand, if you're just tuning my show, don't rush away, don't rush off with haste and urgency. Donald Trump is the most traitorous president. He's the worst traitor in the history of this country as president. You know why? Why I say he's the worst? Because he sucks at it. He sucks at it, man. Donald Trump is the worst. He sucks at being a traitor. I mean, he's actually killed Russians. He's actually got us out of a nuclear agreement with Russians. He's actually went over to Europe, to the Germans, and told them to stop pumping the money to Russia. You know, they're like pumping, they're making it rain on, you know about somebody peeing or making it rain on Putin? It's Merkel. I know that's a scary sight, man, to have Merkel raining on Putin. But those are the people, and Donald Trump, the traitor that he is, went and said, stop pumping up the Russians. I mean, he's the worst traitor ever because he sucks at it, man. But really, laying all jokes aside, if you're a world leader and you're worried about your country, you should be meeting with Putin. It only makes sense, man. Anybody who makes it sound otherwise is just crazy. I'm sorry, Jay, you started to say something, and okay, I thought I heard something out of there, and I just went right over.
No, that was just me gasping.
He was just gasping, trying to catch his breath. You know, I understand, man. Try being in the same room with me.
All the political incorrectness just killing me.
That's it, man. Well, see, he separates himself into a soundproof booth over there, and it's so.
My safe room.
Yeah, he's got a safe spot, man. If you saw Jay, you wouldn't. Maybe I'll have to pull him out here one day and say, "There's a snowflake for you." I mean, he's like, you know, he looks like a white version of the Nigerian princess, but you know, he's all pumped up, man. Anyway, it was in some ways, but he's happily married. You gals don't get crazy out there. It was in some ways a rerun of last month when Netanyahu, reprising a familiar role, played the grateful beneficiary of a political gift from President Trump. This time, the White House declared, hang on a minute, the White House declared that the United States was reversed decades of policy and recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, a strategic plateau seized from Syria in '67. So that always, when I look at this stuff, why? I keep asking this question. Why would any Jewish American that cares about Israel vote for the Democrats, man. I mean, Trump, man, if he's anti-Semitic, right? Here's another one, Jay. I hadn't thought about this, but once again, Donald Trump is the worst anti-Semitic person in the history of the president. He sucks at that too. I'm wondering what the hell does Donald Trump do right? Because he's the worst racist in the world. And the president, he sucks at that. Black unemployment all-time low and getting lower. Hispanic unemployment all-time low, getting lower. Black business ownership all-time high, getting higher. Black home ownership all-time high and getting higher. I mean, this guy is the worst racist ever. He's the worst traitor. I just covered that. And now it comes out, think about it, he's the most anti-Semitic person ever because he sucks at that too. I mean, if you want to be anti-Semitic, why would you recognize the Golan Heights? Why would you make Israel, the capital of Israel, Jerusalem? I mean, these are only things that the Jewish people have been promised from the beginning of time on the Jerusalem deal and have fought and blood and died for in the 67 war to get control of the Golan Heights. And what president has ever recognized them or given what they promised? Imagine this. Promises made. Promises kept, old Donald J. Trump, man. So, yeah, he's the worst anti-Semitic person everywhere. But I talked to a friend of mine who is an Israeli national and he's an American citizen now. Let him remain anonymous, but really good friend of mine. He just came back from Israel a couple of months ago. And he said that MAGA is everywhere, man. There are billboards about Trump, that Netanyahu has been real subtle about putting himself on billboards like this, and he can't come out and the president can't really endorse and vice versa. But they have done everything but that. I mean, Netanyahu named a street now after Trump. So it's all secret when it comes to Trump, right? Trump! Who's more secret than Donald Trump? Anyway, back to Donald Trump he's got the Moscow Project.
Now it's going to be the Israel Project.
Yeah, the Israel Project. Trump! I mean, everywhere you go. Donald Trump, man, he's something else. That's why NASCAR loves him, I think, so much, because he puts his name. I wish he would just do away, with the military, man. If we're going to fight in the desert, I've been saying all along, we just should get NASCAR on it. We should just take all that. There's that much camouflage you need in the desert, right? Just put thing on there, like you had the Trump tank, you could have, the Tea Party tank, you could have your own tank, and y'all could sit there and play games over and say, here's my tank, it's in the ditch. That kind of thing. I just think we should NASCAR it out and help pay for it, man. But although Netanyahu's rightist Likud party has long been the country's dominant political force, its main rival, the new centrist Blue and White Party, spearheaded by former military chief Benny Gantz, I guess that's who's running, has also been polling strongly throughout the campaign. Well, poll numbers have got to be right. The final pre-election polls released Friday showed Blue and White, which is the opposition to Mr. Netanyahu. It's interesting, the blue and white, they like the red, white, and blue. Anyway, red, white, and blue is for Trump. I don't know why blue and white wouldn't be for Netanyahu, but the polling also suggested that a bloc of right-wing parties would be better positioned than the centrists from Israel's next government. I don't know for sure, but I would imagine if you say Israel first, right-wing. I mean, how do you get defined as right-wing? Israel first. You're right-wing for sure, man. No doubt about it. But experts urge caution. The polls are simply not right, said Hebrew University Hazan. The only thing we know is that every Israeli election we get a surprise. Does that sound familiar? That the polls might not be right. And the man that's putting Israel first might actually win again. So all you snowflakes, if there are any in Israel, you hadn't been melted by the mere fact that you're in a desert, you better hold on, because BB, I don't know about the PP, but the BB may be back, man.
Well, remember Brazil and Bolsonaro?
Yeah.
They said the same thing. They said, oh, he's right-wing, he's not going to get elected.
What did he say, Brazil first?
Yeah, pretty much.
Imagine that. So if you put your own, and here's the thing, I'm glad you brought that up, Jay, because Donald Trump has been blasted for saying America first. First of all, the insanity of even criticizing him for that as well. But if you remember, they never play the part where Trump said, and I would expect every country to put their interests first. See, there's a difference between, this is about Israel as well. There is a big difference between being an ally and being a friend. I would maintain that Israel is not only possibly our best ally, but in my opinion, there's no doubt they're our best friend. allies, and this is not a criticism, but allies actually form agreements with you when it's in your mutual best interest. So they're putting their country first, you're putting your country first, you find some common ground to put your interests out there first, and you can become an ally. Now, a friend is someone who looks past some of your faults, and even you have a right to be wrong, and they still stick with you. I mean, that's what I'd define as a friend. A friend is not someone who just goes along with me when it helps them. I've had allies before, and I can tell you when the stuff hits the fan, allies sometimes haul ass. Friends usually jump in, and then they judge you afterwards, which is another story. All right, we got a few minutes left. I got to cover this last story, man, because this one got me to shaking my head, scratching my head, and whatever, man. I call it foolish rush in. You know, they had the thing when fools rush in. In this one, it's foolish rush in. And this is coming to you from the Des Moines Register. Would you get a pizza shop's logo tattooed for free food? These Des Moines, Iowa residents did. Free pizza tattoo, baby. You got to brand yourself. Think about that, man. They're always talking about, especially these snowflakes are always going, "You're Nazis! You're Nazis!" You know, think about that. Oh, you're good Nazis. Well, let me just let you snowflakes know. One of the things that the Nazis did was they tattooed people against their will so that they could put them in concentration camps and later put them in the gas chamber. Getting tattooed ain't necessarily a good thing. And I'm not giving people a hard time that get tattoos. I'm just saying getting tattooed for pizza. Let me just, before I get too deep, let me just make a blanket statement. I hate to tell you this. If you get tattooed for free pizza, guess what you are? You're not a rebel. You're an idiot. I'm just going to say it flat out. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I'm sorry, you could be MAGA hat wearing. If you got a tattoo on your arm to get free pizza, you're an idiot, man. Now, I can understand a stick-on one, but a real one, I just had to get that off my chest before I got any deeper. What will Des Moines, Iowans do, or what will Des Moinans, that's what it said, what will Des Moiners, here the Des Moiners, that's kind of a weird term in the sermon. I don't know. No offense, people from Des Moines. I've been there before. Got nothing but high praise for them. But Des Moiners, is that what they call themselves? What will Des Moiners do for free pizza? Well, I already told you. Tattoo the logo of a pizza shop on their body, apparently. You know, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Why this story jumped out at me? Because you know me, I'm an optimistic person. I'm not a pessimistic person. I don't buy into we only got 12 years to live. If we do, then, you know, hey, let's get it on, AOC, but that's another story. But, you know, I want to have hope for the future. One of the things I'm trying to do is battle ignorance and apathy, right? I'm trying to battle it all the time. And I have hope for the young people. There's some great young people. I meet some all the time. I mean, we got some working here and everything else. So I want to have it. But every time I see a story right loud, man, it just makes it really difficult. Maybe AOC is right. Maybe Ocasio-Cortez is right, man.
Say it isn't so.
Maybe a different reason. Maybe at some point the Lord looks down and go, you know, yeah.
I know I said I wasn't sending another flood, but dang, man.
I mean, think about it. The first time, there's like now 3 things that have let me know that the end may be near. I hadn't told you this, Jay, before, but there's 3 things. The first one was and this is from an old country boy perspective, you got to understand. The first one was when people started paying more money for holes in their jeans. I mean, when I grew up, man, you realize I got to take them. My brother wore them. There's holes in them, mama. I mean, and I saw a video of some boys in Tennessee. Now, you got to give old country boys something. They were taking brand new jeans. This was 20 years ago now. And shooting shotgun blasts in them. And they were making money off of it. People were buying jeans with a shotgun hole in them. So I knew right then, and I could throw in, even though I wasn't. Also, you could throw in when people are paying, you know, $8 for a 50-cent cup of coffee. That might be a sign too. But the whole people paying more money, and they still are, for jeans with holes in them. That got me. And then the third, well, you got me. Oh yeah, now that makes a lot of sense, right? You paid more. You paid $120 for that. I mean, yeah, well, they probably 500 or 1,000, man. But so one of them was when they had holes in the jeans and all that. You got me sidetracked, man. I should have wrote it down about the third one, but now it's when you're getting tattoos of pizza on you. That definitely is pushing me over the top. But so maybe Ocasio-Cortez is right, man. Maybe she's right. And I think about this because, she did a speech, and my buddy Ward covered it earlier. Ocasio-Cortez was at the America Right? Anyway, it's a thing with Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton, and she was up there and she was talking, and I do this for mocking purposes. Like Hillary Clinton did the same thing, and like, get up there and they all of a sudden they channel her in a black spiritual person or what, or what did Joe Biden say? They're going to put you in chains again. And Ocasio, of course, says, I was a bartender, and there's no shame in any kind of work. There's no shame in the bus drivers. And I was working for food. I mean, am I doing? That's about what the fools they say. And, I'm right here, and you heard Al Sharpton in the background going, well, preach on, preach on. So she's doing all this, and she's talking about defending the working people. And I'm like, wow. I mean, one thing about being a hardcore leftist, you got to be able, a litmus test for a hard leftist is, by the way, is they have to be able to believe in two things that are polar opposites to each other at the same time. So they'll say, like in this case, I'm for working class people and good living wages, but Amazon gotta go. You know what I mean? So 25,000 new jobs. I'm for jobs and working people and dignity work. And unless you work for Amazon, 25, they got to, you got to believe in polar opposites, right? Go ahead.
This is what organizing looks like.
That's right.
This is what building power looks like. This is what changing the country looks like. It's when we choose to show up and occupy the room and talk about the things that matter most, talking about our future. Reverend, you bring up a funny anecdote, and I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy.
She should know.
There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat.
Oh, girl, go on.
There is nothing wrong with driving the buses that take your family to work.
Well,
there is nothing wrong with cultural appropriation.
Well, let me appropriate some culture for you right now, okay? Let me just I didn't even practice this, but let me just see if I can do it off the cuff. There ain't nothing wrong with being from an upper crust family like you, Ocasio-Cortez. There ain't nothing wrong with being a Boston University graduate.
Amen, preach it.
Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong. I know exactly how you feel. There ain't nothing wrong with it. There ain't nothing wrong with riding a jackass if you're a jackass.
Ain't you right, Brother Martin?
There ain't nothing wrong with it. Come on, man. How stupid do they think these people are? Do you really believe that? Let me just tell it like it. Do you really honestly believe that black folks are that damn stupid? That they really can sit here and have Hillary Clinton go out and go, that I ain't no ways tired. Let me just tell you, I can do it with the best of them, man. I can get up there and going, well, you woke up this morning on the right side of the bed, on the right side of the ground, and I want to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I can do all that stuff, and I'm still an old white dude, okay? At the end of the day, I'm an old white dude. I would never, ever, I do it as a joke, but do you really believe that I would you talk about the audacity that I would actually, and I have talked at many a black church in my day, I would never get up there and go, well, give me a break. It's nothing wrong with being who the heck you are. But she's out there. I could give her some, I could help old Joe Biden, man. Yeah, I'm just massaging your back here. We'll talk about whatever rises to the occasion, brother. Yeah, I mean, give me a break, man. So anyway, by 7:30, I got a little bit of time. This story, we got off track, but this story's crazy, man. By 7:30 p.m. Saturday, 65 people had a tattoo of the Blaze Pizza logo in exchange for as many as 48 free prizes. Well, you know what they say. Getting a tattooed of pizza for the day. Having a pizza a day was what? Kill you, dead. 48 pizzas in a row. I mean, wait a minute. But they go on to say, 2 Twisted Ink artists stationed themselves in the shop's mobile unit parked outside Blaze, inking the popular orange and black pizza logo on whoever decided to pop in between 10:30 a.m. and 10 p.m. Hey, let me just tell you. Lay off the weed, man. I mean, that's probably why you're so hungry for a pizza to start with. The $40 flame. Now, there's a couple of variations. They did offer variations. The $40 flame tattoo comes with 24 free pizzas, and the $65 Blaze name logo comes with 48 free pizzas. As part of the promotion, said Lindsey Palmer, owner of the Twisted Ink in Des Moines, Iowa, this equates to about $200 to $400 free pies. So these probably are all Democrats. So let me. There's a question like this. Like what's this guy? Booty Git or Butt Gig. I talked about him that's running for president. And he's gay, and now they're coming out and saying he ain't gay enough. So he's married to a man, but he ain't gay enough, man. So I got to ask: are you blazing or just flaming? I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're going to get a tattoo, why would there be a choice? If you're going to sit down and get a tattoo, wouldn't you go for the full whatever? I mean, I don't understand. But Paul McCray, an operating partner of Blaze in Nebraska and Iowa, remembered Elsie Weitzel, a founder of Blaze Pizza, once saying she wanted a tattoo-worthy brand. She wanted her pizzas to be tattoo-worthy. So I guess if old Schultz decides he's going to run for president, the former CEO of Starbucks, should maybe he be giving free needle pricks if you come into a Starbucks? I get, but they are, if you go watch my show, you know they already are. You want to get a free needle prick, just use one of them public bathrooms around Philadelphia in a Starbucks, and you might get more than you bargained for. Just watch where you sit. While most people were getting the flame Saturday, some really, really dedicated people, customers did stop for the full logo, said Jesse Davis, as he etched an orange and black flame on the Brenna Smith's ankle. So I guess you have to figure out where you go get the tattoo. Kind of reminded me of like Blazing Saddles, man. When you get a choice, you put the blade, because you go up there and go, excuse me while I whip this out. Some of y'all will get the reference. Some of you might not. It says you can't. Now, here's the thing, man. This gives you hope. Does this not give you hope for the future? This 21-year-old said, you can't pass up a $40 tattoo. Des Moines she said she sat in the doorway of the trailer. There you go. And her right ankle propped up for days to ink her 6th tattoo. She says, you can't pass up a $40 tattoo. And I go, yeah, you can. I mean, I hate to tell you, but you can. You can absolutely. So some people told her she was making a stupid decision. Why would people do that, man? She later regret, but she disagreed. The flame was cool. She says, if Domino's or Pizza Hut, I probably wouldn't do it, she added. But at least she's got some rational thought there, right? It just blazed her, but it's old creepy Domino, or let alone what would it? She would have put Big Papa John on there. I mean, that's one of them. I mean, they're giving away free tattoos on the back of your head. It says, push here. Line up for them. But every time I try to have hope and faith, man, they just come and like, what is it from Godfather? Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. And this story, man, it does not give me much hope for the future, but I'm going to keep hope alive. Because I know there's a lot of young people that are, a little bit smarter than this. So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I hope if you decide to rush and do something hasty, you will rush to John Martin Talks, like the Facebook page, and rush out and share it with everybody. But until now and then, have a blessed day.